What is happening, my good people? Greetings. How are you? How's it going? How's everybody doing out there? What is the latest and greatest? Hope everybody's doing well, feeling fantastic and excellent spirits. Of course, it is another. Wait, get this out of here. Why is my name at the bottom of that? I need to change that. Let's get to the banners here, people. And everything just disappeared here. Now it's popping up. I got to change my name because everybody knows. It almost sounds like it's in vain as I'm have my name up there. So bear with me for a second, people, but welcome aboard to the latest live stream. It is a new day, a new month, the final quarter of 2025. What is it that we're doing with ourselves, people? We have 91 days from now until the end of the year. I hope whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, whatever it is that you're trying to produce, whatever it is that you're trying to get ready, put forth, whatever. Don't put it off, people, because before you know it, it's going to be Halloween. Then it'll be Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and it'll be 2026. And you're going to be thinking, all right, now I'm going to get started. And we all know once you get to the new year, forget about it. What? A few days, a week, maybe 2 weeks, you get off and running, and then all of a sudden the air comes out of the balloon, and then it's just business as usual, the same old rigmarole, the same old routines and normalcy. We don't want any of that. And that goes for me, yours truly. So we're going to talk about that later on in the podcast because there are going to be some changes. Not that they're going to be sudden. They're going to be eventual. So I just want to put that out there. You definitely want to stay tuned for that as we move it along. I know I see some comments there. I got Cole, I got Miles, I got Fishing Angel. So I'm going to get to those in a moment. But as everybody starts to filter in, I appreciate you all first and foremost. If this is your first time, welcome aboard. And for those who've been here once, twice, 10, a dozen, more than that, I welcome you guys and gals back. As I look forward to this one, this is going to be a very interesting live stream, and not just because of the changes that are forthcoming, but there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to discuss, and I'm just grateful for you guys, as always, that hop on board and chime in and join in on the festivities here. So, yes, we see what the date is. We know what time it is. It's high noon here in the East. And, of course, for those who want to share their comments, you know what happens. I'm going to post them up as we move it along here throughout the course of the next hour, hour and 15, hour and a half. And I know at 1 o'clock, to both Cole and Fishing Angel, the Tigers look to advance onto the division series with a win today, and they will kick off the baseball schedule similar to yesterday. 1 o'clock, Detroit at Cleveland. 3 o'clock, San Diego at Chicago. 6 o'clock, Boston at New York. And then 9 o'clock, you'll have the Reds out at Chavez Ravine with the Dodgers. And it is Elimination Day. Let's get right to it. Where's the banner? Oh, wait, before I get to that, of course, those who are watching the replay, please comment. I'll get a chance to review it. It'll ping me, and I'll be more than happy to follow up with you guys and gals, even if you're not watching live. All right. It is Elimination Day. Now, granted, it's a short series, best of three, as we all know. Game ones are all in the books. And, of course, there's one game that I'm looking forward to in an elimination setting, which I will get to. And not only am I going to get to the team, but also to the manager, who I've been telling people, for those who've been trolling me over the last, maybe not so yesterday, but certainly Sunday night into Monday. Let's just say that I'm getting ready. They're not fluffed just yet, but I'm getting the pillows in order. And I don't know if it's going to happen tonight. I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow, but if it happens, certainly in the next 2 days, I will rejoice. And not only that, but if it happens tonight, tomorrow's podcast, you will not want to miss, because I am going to just start off the show, and hopefully I didn't jinx it by saying that, because I know maybe I'm tweaking the baseball gods by saying that, but I'll touch on that in a moment. Here are the takeaways from yesterday before we get to the games and Elimination Day and how I think these next couple of games, if it does happen to be 2 more games, 1 game at a time. And I owe you coconut water, guys. This is water. When I got up this morning and was putting the show together and just kind of thinking about what it is I want to do, and obviously just reviewing a lot of different things, getting ready for tomorrow's podcast, also trying to reach out to potential sponsors, investors, things of that nature, because now this is the first of the month. Just like I mentioned just a few minutes ago, I got a lot to do between now and the end of the year. And yes, I could crank out all the podcasts, all the live streams, and no matter how much content, shorts, etc. But obviously I got to pay the bills somehow, some way. Thankfully, I still have the means to go ahead and do that. But part of the reason why these next 91 days are important is because once I get to January 1st, I don't want to be at the gate. I don't want to be on the plane. I don't want to be on the tarmac. I want to be at like 20,000 feet. I want to be close to 30,000 feet as I possibly can. So in order for me to do that, this is why I'm trying to share that message with you guys and gals that, yes, it is a new month. Yes, it is the final quarter. Everything that I just spewed a few minutes ago. So I'm trying to push that energy towards you because Lord knows I'm looking inward as far as yours truly and what it is that I'm doing. So believe you me, I got things cooking. So as long as you continue to stay on board and stay with me, and I appreciate your support beyond belief. But I just had to throw that out there to get started. All right. Takeaways. Before I get to the comments, and I see I got 4 comments there, and I saw a couple others prior to the start. I promise I'll get to them. Here are the takeaways from yesterday. And I understand we're living in 2025. I understand that baseball today is a whole hell of a lot different than it was 10 years ago, 15, 20, and beyond. But let me tell you something. And this goes out to David Stearns, the GM of the Mets, okay? And I get it that there may not be a surplus of big-time Major League free agents. I understand that there may not be pitchers that are growing on trees that you could just all of a sudden plug into your roster and your rotation, and automatically they're going to go out and pitch into the 8th inning. But damn it, I got news for you. If you did not watch, especially in the American League playoffs, there is nothing like having a horse. Did you see what Tarek Skubal did yesterday? Did you see what Garrett Crochet did yesterday? Both of those guys pitched into the 8th inning. Both of those guys pitched 7 2/3 innings. Both of those guys took their teams in what were must-wins. And give kudos to A.J. Hinch, who knows a thing or two around the block, his way around playoff maneuverability as far as trying to win these games. Same for Alex Cora, who have both won World Series in back-to-back years, I might add, 2017 and 18. And I understand you want to talk about banging trash cans and sign stealing and Cora being a part of that 2017 team. He was suspended, A.J. Hinch. I get all that. But this is today. We're not looking in the past. But it was all about the starting pitcher. Tarek Skubal, who my guy Cole, which I'm sure right now he's probably tapping furiously. He called, and I'm taking this from him, Tarek Price, a lefty who could put up those big numbers in the regular season, win Cy Youngs, things of that nature. But when the money's on the line, when it's time to deliver, when it's time to bring your team home, what did he do yesterday? He did that. 1 run, 3 hits, 14 strikeouts. Did walk 3. All right. But still, the guy was masterful. Throwing 100. And it's amazing because his fellow AL counterpart, Garrett Crochet, who is going to be, they're going to be 1 and 2 in the Cy Young, but I think Skubal's going to win. And what you saw there in the game at 6 o'clock from 6 to 9, where Garrett Crochet was masterful. And his manager, just like A.J. Hinch, believed in him to know that I want to make this a 2-pitcher game because I know I got to ride my horse until he is tired, until he's gassed. And I believe Skubal threw 114 pitches and Crochet threw 117. And what did that lead him? It went from Skubal to Will Vest, and it went from Crochet to Aroldis Chapman. And what did you see? You saw game 1 victories. You saw 2 teams that are on the road in hostile environments. Cleveland, who obviously their fans are geeked up and thinking that they have a shot to try to get past this first round, considering what they did to Detroit recently, winning 5 out of 6 in the last 2 weeks of the regular season. But now this is where it really counts. And all they did was put up Cy Young performances. And again, to David Stearns and to the other general managers throughout baseball, you could try to forecast a game 3 hours, 3 days, 3 months before it's played. You could try to generate all the matchups you want when it comes to, all right, 3rd time around the order. Oh, okay, what are we going to do? Are we going to have him pitch 6 innings? Or is the pitch limit at 105, 101, whatever it is? All right, because we got to make sure the bullpen gets their act in there. We got to make sure that the matchups are going to favor us in the later innings. Nonsense! in the immortal words, and I've said this a zillion times, and I know you're probably tired of me saying this, but this is the truth. And I took this from Todd Zeal, former Major League player. He is now a studio analyst at SNY, the Met Network, who does the pregame and postgame after every regular season game. And if they made the playoffs, that's another story. He said it best. With these managers and with the analytics and with the front office, with the manager trying to, again, map out the game before it's even played. He says managers are trusting the iPad over the eye test. And that is your guy. That's why you're paying him big bucks. And I know Scooble, listen, he's going to be a free agent after next year, but it's going to be games like yesterday that he's going to be remembered by. And when it's time to get to the negotiating table, he's going to say, hey, remember that game one performance in Cleveland? Just like the game one he had last year in Houston in the wild card round? Just like game one in Cleveland in the division series? And I understand he got no decision because Kerry Carpenter hit the 3-run homer. I believe it was in the 9th inning. But still, I believe if I pull up his numbers now, he went 7 innings. And you know what? I'm going to do that because the argument here is, and understood, there's only a handful of these guys in Major League Baseball. Okay? Whether it's Zach Wheeler when he's healthy. All right? Yoshinobu Yamamoto, although didn't start last night, but still he's a guy that with the money that he's making, horse, even Blake Snell. Now, Blake Snell had an 8-0 lead, and we're going to get to that in a little bit as far as the Dodgers and Reds, which, please, are the Reds even going to show up? But when it comes to guys who are ones that you ride until he says, boss, I can't do it anymore. Or you know what? I'm gassed. Or, you know what, come get me because this is my last batter. Whatever it may be. But this is why these guys are precious. This is why these guys not only get paid the big bucks, but this is why baseball is thrilling. Did you see Crochet gut out that game yesterday? Did you see Scooble in the 8th inning say, get me to Will Vest instead of having to mishmash 100 pitches in between before you get to the closer? Absolutely not. And that is why I'm going to say this. I don't care what the NFL can produce. I don't care what the NBA can produce. And even Stanley Cup playoffs, I get it, especially when you get into overtime. But there is no theater. And I'm not saying I'm a baseball fan, whatever, but this is the truth. There is no theater like September 30th yesterday, but you get my point. October baseball. Because when you watch that all unfold, whether it was the Tigers-Guardians, 9th inning, where Baez gets the ball, he fields it. Now, I understand it was a hop, Spencer Torkelson. It hits off of Ramirez. It goes into right field. Next thing you know, Ramirez is on third with nobody out in a 2-1 game. I'm sorry. You can have Joe Montana in the 2-minute drill, Super Bowl 23 against the Bengals. And yes, I understand that it was heightened, whatever, but because when play stops and they gather around and they call the next play, it does not have anything close to what October has. I'm sorry. You can debate me. You can at me all you want. It just does not. Because, and Cole can attest, and Fishing Angel, when Ramirez was on third and nobody out, I bet you they were at the edge of their seats. Because it's not as if, oh, there's 10 seconds left to go. So, you know what? One more pitch and the game is over. You got to get that last out. It is an absolute must. And what happened? They were able to get the 3 outs, including the strikeout where Will Vest threw that changeup in the dirt. And then the next batter, who was what, Manzanardo, hit the ground ball back to the mound. And why was Jose Ramirez, I guess because of the twilight where the shadows were starting to creep, and maybe thought the ball was hit harder than it was, or maybe thought the ball was going to go over the head of the pitcher. And meanwhile, Vest caught it, and Ramirez was a dead duck, which killed the rally. And then you got the fly ball or the pop-up to end the game to Baez, and that was it. So the Tigers get out alive. And then in the nightcap, it wasn't a nightcap, but the AL nightcap, in the 8th inning, where you had a runner on first after the hit by Volpe, who had 2 hits and a home run last night, the only Yankee run. And he was already at 112 pitches, whatever it was, maybe even more, maybe 111. And he had Austin Wells, a left-handed batter, where you knew that was going to be his last at-bat. because he was emptying out the tank. And boy, that 3-2 pitch on the black where Austin Wells tried to sell it. And that was on the black at 100 at pitch 117. That Crochet struck him out. And then Crochet came out for Aroldis Chapman because there was no way Alex Cora was going to mess around. Alex Cora said, I am not putting a righty in because he had Garrett Whitlock in the bullpen. But he said, no, I'm going to ask Aroldis Chapman, who, as we all know, likes to come in a clean inning. He doesn't like dirty innings or having to come in the middle part to try to clean up a mess. And that was strategy. Because if he put in a righty, guess who was coming in for Austin Wells? Ben Rice, who was a left-handed bat and obviously is a guy that can wreck the game. That's not to say Wells can't, but Rice was the wild card on that bench. So therefore, Cora said, I'm bringing in Chapman. Chapman gets the fly ball from Caballero, I believe it was, and almost a collision in the outfield. And then that ninth inning, let's go back to theater again. The Red Sox get a run to make it 3-1. And I'm going to get to that in a moment, people. I will get to that in a moment because my second takeaway is coming up next. Now you have Chapman coming in. Base hit to Goldschmidt. Base hit to Judge. All right, Goldschmidt was a flare. Judge was a rocket. Then Belger hits a bloop left center. Bases loaded. Nobody out. Red Sox up 3-1. Now you have theater. Now you wonder whether or not Aroldis Chapman, who, as we've seen many times, and the Yankee fan could attest, Jose Altuve, 2019 in the ALCS, walk-off, 2-run homer. Also in 2020 during the pandemic, where the kid who he actually almost brushed back in the regular season, damn, I can't think of his name right now off the top of my head, where he almost brushed back in the regular season and almost led to a brawl. His name is eluding me. But in a tie game in the 8th inning, I believe it was in the 8th inning of that game in San Diego, where he gave up a home run. And it was 2-1, and then the Yankees in the top of the 9th were unable to get the run. And Chapman, we've seen him implode big time. And what does he do? Bases loaded with Giancarlo Stanton up on a 3-2 splitter, or maybe it was 2-2, strikeout. Jazz Chisholm, a fly ball to right field, lazy fly. Caught there by Abreu. Throws it in, up the line, but Goldschmidt's at third. Which you could go back to Aaron Boone. Could you a pinch run? Maybe. Quite possibly. But anyway, I'm going to get to him in a moment. I just tipped my hand for my second takeaway. And then Trent Grisham tied him up on a deadly fastball. Game over. And the Red Sox win 3-1. All because Crochet to Chapman, Skubal to Vest. That, my friends, is old school baseball. Skubal, magnificent. Crochet, brilliant. And what could you say about Chapman? And even Vest, for that matter, because he had pressure also. Just unbelievable baseball. And that's what I love about October. There is nothing like it. The NFL can't even produce that. And they wish they could. Because, again, time can run out. 4th and goal, whatever. I mean, even 4th and goal still doesn't have the same. It has to be 4th and goal, last play of the game, in order for it to get that type of theater. Baseball delivers it and then some. And the best way to put it would be the at-bat in the 7th inning where Max Fried gets taken out and they bring in Luke Weaver. And it's the bottom of the order. And Ceddanne Rafaela, who doesn't walk, but he worked out an 11-pitch at-bat to walk. And when you have that at-bat in October is not the same at-bat in May, June, or July. Because that guy's filing all pitches. You don't know what's going to happen. You're tense. You're wondering, come on, this is an 8th hitter. He's a light hitting. He has a little bit of pop. But come on, get this guy out. He's a free swinger, so on and so forth. And he walks. And you know what walks do? Not only just in the regular season, but especially in October, they always come back to haunt you. So that's number one. Now, I know the comments are there. Wow, 35 comments I see. Trust me, I'm going to get to every one of them, as you well know. This is number two. I've had people get at me the last couple of days. The Mets, what a joke. Soto sitting at home. Yankees living rent-free in my head. What? I'm responding to the Yankee fan that are trolling the Met fan. And I said, nah, I had enough. As you heard on Monday's podcast, my podcast pregame on Monday, etc. Podcast pregame tomorrow at 9:30. And, the Yankees lose tonight? Aaron Boone, what are we doing here? But, wait, time out. Let's go back to what I was saying earlier. One more time. Let's figure the game out before the game is actually even played. Max Fried, who had some minefields he had to dodge in and out of, especially in the 4th, 5th, and 6th innings, but got out of it. So now he pitches into the 7th inning at 99 pitches. He gets a ground ball by Duran. I believe it was Duran. Yes. And they take him out. 102 pitches. What are we doing? What is happening? Now, Max Fried in the postgame said that, yeah, he was still going. He still felt pretty good, but they're going to take the ball. They're going to take the ball. So he's not going to throw his manager under the bus. And this is first guess. I'm thinking, all right, he's at 102 pitches. It's game 1. You got to win this game. Have you seen the Yankee bullpen? Yankee bullpen has not been good this year. Look at the numbers. And although they've been good down the stretch, but they beat up on the Orioles and White Sox. So please, spare me. So he takes him out. And just like I detailed a couple of minutes ago, Luke Weaver comes in, who has not been the same pitcher as he was toward the end of last year and the start of this year. He had this injury. I forgot what he had, but he has not been the same guy. His ERA, I believe, is like 4.5 to 5. I think it's even over 5 now that I think about it. So what happens? He walks Rafael, as I mentioned, and then he had Nick, Sogard, I think was up, Nick Sogard. He came up, hits a base hit to right field, and Aaron Judge, as we know, that elbow's compromised, hustling out of the box, gets a hustle double. Now you have 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. They pinch hit. They bring in Matsusaka Yoshida. What happens? First pitch, base knock in the right field. Both runs score. So you had the hustle double, which the Red Sox lineup, let's face it, it's far from Big Papi, Manny Ramirez, Mookie Betts, Xander Bogaerts, all the teams of years past that won World Series. And they get the big hit. And now you're thinking to yourself, if you're a Yankee fan, why did they take out Max Fried? And despite the fact that Fried had to dodge a couple of jams there, but it wasn't as if he was laboring. It wasn't as if he was huffing and puffing. It wasn't as if it's like, oh, geez, I don't know if I can make it. And then to hear Aaron Boone in the postgame, I'm going to get to that now, that, oh, yeah, he had those jams in the 4th, 5th, and 6th, that, it was stressful pitches, and I'm paraphrasing here. And for him to come out to say that, yes, he did have 99 pitches, and yes, I was going to give him 1 batter, and you know what? It was mapped out to bring in the bullpen at that point. Why? He has not given up a run. He started the inning giving up a ground ball out where he had to cover first base. That was it. I could see if he had a hamstring or he came up lame or whatever, where, you know, I'm going to take him out. Again, he had the game mapped out. What did I say before? iPad over eye test. And I'm not trying to make out Max Fried to be Sandy Koufax, but the guy was pitching very good. And this is why Aaron Boone in these spots is awful. And listen, I'm not a Yankee fan. I hope he continues the terrible mistakes that he has. But he justifies it by saying that, oh, this was a lane for Weaver to come in to pitch. I believe in him, whatever. What? And on top of that was the bottom of the order. You would think that it was 3, 4, and 5 coming up. And again, this is not to knock the Red Sox lineup, but the Red Sox lineup is not going to shake you in your boots. Maybe for a couple of players. One in particular, which I'm going to get to next. But you got to be kidding me. Aaron Boone is lost. And again, that was the first guess. It wasn't because he gave up the runs. Oh, why did he take him out? I'm watching this and I'm saying to myself, that's a little dubious. I could see he was at 112 pitches maybe. Or let's say he was pushing 120. I'd be like, all right, maybe he is gassed. I'll give him that. 102? You paid this guy $218 million to come here to pitch in these types of games. And this is why I go back to the previous point. Horses. This is why the horses give you what you get. Why do you think Crochet pitched 117 pitches? I understand he had a 6-pitch 7th inning, but still, you think he was going to go out? Oh, well, I'm done. I gave him 7 innings, and he's good. Nonsense. So then now, after that disaster, 9th inning, David Bednar, who's pitched well, you got to bring him in that spot, 2-1 to hold the lead. Trevor Story gets a base hit. Steals second, and you know they're going to try to do whatever it takes to manufacture these runs. So now you have a runner on second, Alex Bregman up. I understand Alex Bregman is not Albert Pujols. I understand he's not Joe DiMaggio. I understand that you can't fear this guy. I get it, 100%. But this guy's a winner. This guy, if Aaron Boone, as he's seen back in 2019, 2022, and I'm sure regular season games that he's managed against littered throughout. He knows that Bregman's the one guy that can't beat him in that spot. Okay? And what happens? And it was a decent pitch by Bednar, although it was hung, but it came a little low. Not really a pitcher's pitch, but not a bad pitch. And what does Bregman do? He golfs it into the left field corner, and that run scores. One more time. That guy knows how to win. That guy's a gamer. That guy is a grinder. He's the one guy that he cannot get that big hit there. And what does he do? He gives it the hit. Instead of trying to say, hey, let's not fool around. Let's make sure that let's try. And again, it was a decent pitch. But man, that just, to me, I was like, wow, Bregman got that hit. Look at that. And that was an enormous run. Now, granted, they got the bases loaded, everything I detailed earlier. But what are we doing? Aaron Boone in these spots, and I can't put it all on him. Obviously, he's going to be on the front line because he's in the dugout. Nobody's thinking about Brian Cashman. Nobody's thinking about the front office. But we know that this is all a collective agreement of how to operate these games prior to the first pitch. I mean, it's mind-boggling. And this is why I can't stand the analytics. I understand why they play a part. 1,000%. And I'm going to get to the Cubs next because that was another boneheaded thing which I could not understand. Craig Counsell, who by any means is not Connie Mack, John McGraw. I'm going way back now, people. All right, I'll reel it in. He's not Tony La Russa. He's not Joe Torre. He's not Bruce Bochy. But man, I mean, what are we doing here? And listen, I hope he keeps it up. I hope he pinch hits for Aaron Judge in the 5th inning. I really do, which obviously that's never going to happen. But it just, you can't make it up. If you're a Yankee fan, you got to be sick to your stomach. And again, that was a first guess with what happened there in the 7th inning, taking out Fried. And now it sets the stage for today, which I truly love. Now, Brian Bale's a guy who has had success against the Yankees and in that stadium. And I know he lost him just a couple weeks ago when they played up at Fenway. And I hope Bello puts forth a good performance. 5 innings, maybe get to the 6th. That'd be great. But Carlos Rodon is now, and he's had a good year. I can't knock what he's done this year. I can't. But this isn't the White Sox. This isn't the Orioles. It's not the Nationals. And again, the Red Sox are not murderers row. But you mean to tell me now your season is banking on the left arm of Carlos Rodon? And he's a guy that he could go through the first round, the first trip around the order. He could be lights out. Face the minimum, 4 strikeouts. All right. The Yankees better have a 3-0 lead at that point. And that's not even safe because Rodon could vomit all over himself. And he's going to be the ire of every Yankee fan known to man if he does not go minimum 6, at least into the 7th inning, pitching dominant baseball or close to it. Because just like I said yesterday or on the podcast pregame Monday and even Sunday when I did my live after the Mets imploded, I said, if Garrett Crochet, check those receipts. You guys know If Crochet throws, and I came close, I said if he pitches 7 innings, 1 run, 3 hit, 12 strikeout ball, and he only pitched 7 2/3, 1 run, 4 hit, 11 strikeout ball. No walks. Your season now is going to be relying on Carlos Rodon. Do I need to say any more? I tell you. I don't know what to say. I mean, you know. But anyway, that's that. Let me get to these 2 other things, and I'll get to all the comments, I promise. And I appreciate you guys. Thanks for your patience, etc. Now, the Cubs win yesterday. But Craig Counsell, what are you doing? He takes out his starter, Matthew Boyd, in the 5th inning after registering an out. Okay? He gets an out. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go back to the play-by-play because I believe it was similar to what Max Fried experienced. Hang on. Let me double-check this before I go off into the deep end. Now, Boyd cruising along. The Padres did have a 1-0 lead. They got a run early. And Boyd, again, he gets into the 5th inning. And mind you, he was at 58 pitches. 5-8. Not 68, not 78 in the 5th inning. 58. So you're automatically going to think, you're automatically going to think that, and here's the play-by-play. All right, hang on. Bear with me, people, because I want to make sure I get this correct. Mind you, I was following this game. I didn't watch it closely. I was at Yankee Stadium. I didn't go to the game, but I was just filming content, which I'll talk about later on. Yeah, he struck out Jake Cronenworth. His top 5? Yeah. He struck out Cronenworth, and then he gave up a single to the catcher, Fermin. And then he took him out. Base hit. Okay, it's a 1-0 game. Fermin is up. And I understand it's now top of the order, so 3rd time around. But can you see what you can get out of Boyd before you go to the bullpen? Now, as it was, they had Palencia come in, and he got Tatis Jr. to line out and Arise to line out. Now, I don't know if there were – I should have checked the highlights on that, but only because they won 3-1, and that made me – when I saw that Boyd was taken out, I said, well, what's going on here? As a matter of fact, I can even watch this as I'm talking to you if I can go to the highlight. But it made me think, what are we doing here? And the Cub bullpen is decent, I will say. But one more time, Tatis, I got to take him out now because Boyd, who is a lefty, going against the righty Tatis, and then Arise, who's a left-handed batter. So you could have kept him in to see how he's going to fare against Tatis. If he would have hit a home run, all right, it's 3-0. And I get it. People can say, why didn't you take him out then? It's the 5th inning. He's your starter. I get it. Matt Boyd is not Tarek Skubal. He's not Garrett Crochet, Zach Wheeler, when healthy, Garrett Cole. He's not of that ilk. But come on. I mean, what are we doing here? Now you're going to bring these guys in today. Let's just say for argument's sake, you're going to bring these guys in today who the Padres have already seen. This is why when bullpens are overused and when you get that first look, that's where it becomes ineffective at times because the batter's already going to know what's going to be heading toward them, considering that they already faced them the day before, or at least in the case of Tatis Jr. and Arise. So, come on. What are we doing? Now, it didn't burn them because in the bottom of the inning, they got the back-to-back home runs by Suzuki and Carson Kelly. And then the Cubs tacked on another run late, and they win 3-1. But to remove these pitchers, I mean, out of the – come on. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. And then in the nightcap, do I even need to unpack this? If you're in the room, Ohtani starts to dodge a home run barrage, and that was just a sign of things to come. When he hit the leadoff homer, you think, oh, boy, this game. Then Teoscar gets a 3-run homer. 4-0, you knew that was it. Hunter Green, forget it. Then you had Edman hit a home run, Teoscar with another, Ohtani with another, and that, I mean, come on, that was all she wrote. After 4-0, you knew that was it. And as I said the other day, and I'll say it one more time, I'm sure Rob Manfred, the powers that be, as they settled in to watch this game wherever they're at, and probably in the MLB offices where they probably just finished ordering Chinese takeout or a little bit of a nightcap as they try to dig into their strawberry shortcake with a little espresso. And when they see Ohtani hit one to the moon, and then they see Teoscar hit the 3-run homer, they were spitting it right out, thinking, damn it, the Reds are going to make this a short series. That's not to say the Mets would have been better, okay? But the Reds, Mets, who would you rather have there if you're the commissioner and the suits that are running Major League Baseball? I'm sorry, Terry Francona, the Reds are not cutting it. All right, let me get to the comments here. And I got a plenty. Let's start from the top. I'm going to start from the very top. Here we go, Tigers. Here we go. My guy, Cole. I love the, what's it called, too, by the way. I'll just show that for everybody there. I know. For those who are offended, hey, listen, everybody wants to FS up. I know I'm trying to keep it a little PG here, but Miles, we're all up to the sun. All right. What superhero he is today, I guess I'll find out shortly. Fishing Angel. Tigers won. Heck yeah. Now they got to keep winning. Yeah. And I'm going to get to game 2 today. I just want to get to the comments and encapsulate game 1 before I move on to the other stuff. It's noon where you're at, sir. Yes, it is. Did I say it wasn't you? Noon where you're... Oh, yeah. Maybe this is towards Bio. Dodgers back-to-back. I'm sure he's ecstatic. Yes, good afternoon, Fishing Angel. You got me for an hour to watch the Tigers. I hear you. No offense taken there, Cole and Fishing Angel. I know you guys are going to watch your Tigers. Got me for an hour. Oh, hang on. Did I already hit that there? Yep. Good afternoon, Bios. Well, of course, it's spreading the love here in the room. I feel like I've had this gone from urgent care. Oh, geez, you're all right, Cole. I'm sure you probably typed that afterwards because I know you were not feeling well a few days ago. School showed up. Yep. Hey, and you know what? If you want to admit you're wrong for that, that's the best way to put it because, yeah, I feel you. Scuba was dealing without question. Yes, Fishing Angel, good afternoon to you. Val, wait, how did that pop up? Jonathan Kaminga signed a 2-year contract extension. Seth Curry, yes, and the Warriors too. Yes, they all did. I could get to that a little bit later on. 49ers, Rams tomorrow. I know. Thank you, Val. You like the live. I'll get to the football and the NBA in a little bit. Thank you, Val. Always appreciated. Thanks for rubbing it in. LL, you're yes, 100% right. Tired School showed up, not Tired Price. Not rubbing it in by any means. I love the Tired Price reference, though. You know me. But no way, shape, or form trying to rub it in. But at the same time, I'm just highlighting because I can't take credit for you calling Tarek Skubal, Tarek Price in big moments. So with that being said, I know I was supposed to get back to his performance last year in the wild card. So there's that. Bob Melvin got fired. Yes, still need a new one. A lot of managers. No Bruce Bochy. No Ron Washington. Brian Snicker steps down from Atlanta. So, yeah, there's a few. I changed my thumbnail to a different fish. I caught it nice size. Let me see. Oh, it's a bowfin. Yeah, looks pretty nice there, Fishing Angel. Very nice. Good morning, Val B. At least it's still morning for you. Yes, it is. Val spreading the love. 911 Pacific Grove. All right. I guess I could skip. I got to show the hellos and all that. Niners will win for sure. Uh-oh. Bio will probably have a thing or two to say about that one. George Kittle's returned soon. Yeah, he's still on IR. I think this is the 5th game coming up for him. So after, the 4th game because IR. No, wait a minute. No, he got hurt in the first game. So, yeah, after this next game, we can see what his status will be. Yeah, that should be a good game tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to that. DJ Reader went down the lines this weekend. Hamstring going out to be a while. That's bad. Yeah, that's a big loss to their front 4. I'm an honest man. You're right. I was saying here, we go Tigers. Yes, going to let loose. Oh, we're going to lose. Yeah, he did say that, but that's all right, Cole, because it's good to be wrong when they turn out to be goes the other way. So prayers that DJ. Yes, absolutely. Yanks bullpen's worse than the Tigers. Yeah, they have not been good. I froze. Uh-oh. How long did I freeze? Could I freeze? How about now? Is the video? I wonder if because my laptop timed out, I think that's what happened. Because I know. And I thought I changed the settings on my laptop to be never so it could just keep going. So if it froze, that's the reason why. So I got to make sure. I know, Fishing Angel, I'm sorry. Sorry, you guys. I think because it timed out, so therefore you can still hear me, but you have me probably like this. So my apologies there. I'll try to keep an eye out before it starts to time out. Cole, live in Pacific Valley. It's beautiful. Yes. Cole, Val, can you invite us all out there, please? I know it's too many of us to invade your home. Val, not my cup of tea, but whatever makes you happy, that's all that matters. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I want to make my way out to California again. Val, be too many people for me to live. I live in the middle of nowhere in Michigan. Yes, and Clio. Not Cleo, Clio. Val, cool. Yes, Brent, welcome from Ontario. I know I got to get to these comments pretty quick here because I know I got 20 minutes before both Cole and Fishing Angel depart to watch their beloved Tigers. Thank you, Brent. I appreciate that. The host with the most. Thank you, as always, for stopping by. Padres didn't look. I know they both ended well for the Cubs, and let's see how they respond. I picked them to win in 2 games because I thought something told me, and especially with Counsell as the manager, I wasn't too confident with the Cubs. But right now, they just need one more game. Well, maybe the first inning, but after that, not so much. Right, 100%. Why is that popping up? I didn't even click on that. First inning, not so much. Yes. Yeah, exactly. They're a bully offense, as I've said a million times. Yes, for sure. If Yankees don't get their crap together, they're definitely going to fail. Yes, and I hope that's the case. Fingers crossed. Got a half hour and I'm out. Tigers start at 1. Yes, indeed. I'll try to zoom through these cold just for you. Justin, if Boston prevails, they play Saturday 1:08. If it's the Yankees, it's 4:08. Both scenarios of our start time. Interesting. Right, because the winner of that series is going to play Toronto in the division series. Excellent point. Thanks for sharing that, Brent. I appreciate it. Yes, neither side is happy. That is the truth. Yes, they have until January. I read that, so that is for sure. 13-0, 12 more wins. Yeah, Bio's hoping to get that clean sweep through the postseason. My hat is not meant to offend anyone if it's right. Oh, yeah, no, absolutely not. All in good fun. You know how I feel about that. That's all good. Beautiful contract. I know, exactly. That is a contract that, as I've said before, Brent, real quick, in this NHL, Kirill Kaprizov, Minnesota Wild. What do you think the Edmonton Oilers are thinking? They're going to have to give him like 8 for 150 because, listen, Kaprizov is a sniper, excellent goal scorer. You can even argue, as far as snipers, top 5. I know Ovechkin's on the backside. Really, he's on the 18th hole right now, despite the fact that he's still very good. But with McKinnon, Draisaitl, obviously McDavid, but McDavid's not a sniper. And McKinnon is more of a playmaker if you want to look at him from that regard. But Draisaitl, yeah, he's in the handful, but we're talking McDavid. Worth a lot more. True Brand also signed Alpha and Seth Curry. Horford, which he signed. A few minutes for sure. All right, we're talking about that has to be my freezing. Got to go, everyone. All right, Brent, I appreciate you stopping by. I know you're long gone, but I had to acknowledge you in your comments, as always. Front office not great, but signing players like Kuminga I thought was going to be traded. Cole, I can wear a different hat every day for you. You wouldn't see the same one twice. Wow. Oh, man, I can imagine. You got the collection for sure. I have a hat problem. Yeah, I used to be like that, but a bunch of different Met hats and my teams, etc. But I haven't worn a lot of hats recently. I don't know why. But all right, let me get to today's games. I'm going to get to the NFL, a couple other things before I sign off. And I want to get to these things definitely before Cole and Fishing Angel depart. Where are my banners? All right, as far as today's game, Elimination Day. Let's go back to that. Casey Mize. I think because the Tigers, their bullpen obviously rested. I know Will Vest. Who knows with him? I forgot what his pitch count was in yesterday's game, but I'm sure maybe get an out or 2. I would think that you want to give him a clean inning if he's going to come in the 9th. But the Guardians, they do not have a lot of pop. The Tigers have a lot of more pop. I think, and Tanner Bybee's the pitcher. Bybee, he's a good pitcher. And, I mean, he's hittable, though. My thing is, the Guardians got to play from in front today. If it's going to be nip and tuck like yesterday, I don't think they have a shot. So it is important for the Tigers to try to tee off, be patient with Bybee. He's not an overwhelmingly hard thrower. But I did pick the Tigers in 3. I guess I got to stick with that. But I don't know. I can see the Tigers, now that they got that game under their belt, they won in dramatic fashion with the Ramirez getting tagged out in the rundown. I think the Tigers are going to win today. But would I be shocked if the Guardians win? Absolutely not. And I think the Guardians have to play from in front. And I think the best for them, they need a rocking chair type game. And rocking chair in this case is like a 5-1 game. So if they get 2 in the first, maybe like 2 in the fourth, and then have Bybee and their bullpen pieces together and they win 5-1. And I'm not trying to say that's what I predict there, Cole and Fishing Angel, but they need that type of game. They don't need a nail biter. They don't need to go through their bullpen, because that could be a recipe for tomorrow as far as being a disaster with the Tigers, because you don't want to show all your hands. And that's what the Tigers didn't do with their bullpen. They went Scooble the Vest. And I understand Vest is their closer, but the guys in between, and it's not as if they're unfamiliar with them. They've seen them here over the last couple of weeks here in the regular season when they played in Detroit 2 weeks ago and then last week in Cleveland. But, yeah, I could see the Tigers winning today, even if they don't get an early lead. And obviously they had a 1-0 lead and then got that run later on, or the 2-0 lead. But how I see it is I could see the Tigers winning today. And if I was a betting man, which you know I'm not, I'd almost get the feeling that they would win. Because think about these wild card series. Only 2 have gone to 3 games. And I'm sure I've regurgitated this 1,000 times, which I hate to do so, but for those that first time watching or whatever. Only the Mets, of course, 2022, Game 3 against the Padres, lost. And then last year against the Brewers, won. All the other series in the wild card have been sweeps. So I'm going to bank on the Tigers to sweep today. As for the Padres, come on. They can't go out like this. They got to win today, although I do not like Dylan Cease. And he scares me. That's why I was hoping they win yesterday, and then Cease will have at least a cushion of having a Game 1 win under their belt. But I don't like Cease in the spot, although I do think that the Padres will find a way. I mean, it's risky because of these 2-game sweeps. But only because I picked the Padres to win the series. Obviously not in 2 anymore, but I guess they could win in 2 now, considering that it'll be a gentleman's sweep in some way, shape, or form. But no, I won't be surprised the Cubs win today, but I think the Padres will find a way to win today. I mean, and their offense isn't lights out either. I understand Tatis and Machado, but they don't have a lot of pop. They really need to get production from the top of their lineup. But think about this. Tatis arrives Machado yesterday. And I know Jackson Merrill did get got on the board with a base knock, but the top 3 of their lineup yesterday, 0 for 11. They're 0 for 11 today. They're going home. That's all there is to it. So just think about that as far as the second game. Now, this Yankee game, Bayo, as I said before, now their bullpen is rested. And Chapman did throw 24 pitches yesterday. So who knows what his availability is tonight. But with the bullpen rested and Bayo, I'm sure they're going to ask him to pitch 5 and maybe get into the 6th. I don't know if he's going to go deeper than that. But Rodon, it's all on him. And I'm fascinated to see how he's going to pitch tonight. So now I said Red Sox in 3. So I guess I got to stick with that. I can see the Yankees responding. And let's say they get to Bayo early. They put up 3-4 runs. And then if they get into that bullpen, other than Garrett Whitlock, I could see them winning like a 7-2 type game. And then tomorrow, the Red Sox don't even have a pitcher decided yet. And the Yankees are going with the rookie Cam Schlittler. Now, that's a little dicey for a team that has a $300 million payroll. But he does have ability. But you're going to bank on a do-or-die game on a pitcher who has what? A Baker's dozen starts or a little bit more than that? That's why. And listen, I understand the Red Sox are going to throw a bullpen game, but that would scare me if you ask me. So, but I can see the Yankees winning tonight, and we'll see what's going to happen there. And as far as the nightcap, I mean, do I really need to get the Dodgers-Reds? And they're not even pitching Andrew Abbott or Nick Lodolo, who pitched over the weekend in Milwaukee. I think Abbott pitched Friday. Why not pitch him today? In fact, I saw their pitcher that the Reds were going to start, and it was a head-scratcher because I thought to myself, wait a minute, if Abbott pitched on Friday, now he's pitching tomorrow, he must have pitched Saturday, Zach Littell. Now, Nick Lodolo, I know, was nursing an injury, and in fact, he pitched in the game. Come to think of it, he pitched Thursday when they beat the Pirates last week. Why isn't he starting today? Now, let me look at the box score because I did not watch the game yesterday after Hunter Green got chased. So I don't know. Did Lodolo come in the game? He may have. So I have to watch what I say here when it comes to that. No, of course he didn't. He's a starter. Why would he have pitched in a game where Hunter Green only went 3 innings? Again, and Francona knows. I can't knock Francona, but Zach Littell, that's a little dicey if you ask me. But that's what you have with the baseball today. I'm looking forward to it. And it's going to start in less than 10 minutes. And we'll be all over it. Now, as far as the NFL goes, let me switch gears, put on the helmet and shoulder pads. Let's get to the graphic. A very light schedule. Now, you got Niners and Rams tomorrow. Excellent game. The game is in SoFi. I know these Thursday night games are tricky because you don't know, even with the caliber of competition. I mean, look at last week. You had Seattle, Arizona, another NFC West matchup. The game for 3.5 quarters was a bore. I mean, it was 17-3, and then it was 20-6 before the before the Cardinals came back and tied, which made it for a thrilling ending. But go back and watch that game. You see the final score. Ooh, 23-20. Must have been a great game. Oh, my God. It was anything but. So I hope it's not anything close to that. That we'll have to wait and see. But should be a very good game, obviously, to see who's going to wrestle the top spot, at least as of now. Because remember, the Niners 3-1, Rams 3-1, Seahawks 3-1. Whoever wins this game will have a leg up on the NFC West. So that's one to keep an eye on there to introduce the weekend. But other than that, the schedule, I hate the Sunday night game with a passion. New England at Buffalo. Now, I understand you got to bring these teams into the fold early on. And even though New England is what now? They're 2-2. But we would think New England's going to get destroyed. If the game was in New England, you never know. Road game, I think New England's going to get destroyed, so I hate the game. Monday night game, not bad. Kansas City at Jacksonville, but Jacksonville brings no but eyeballs to the sets. That's why I have Mahomes there. But here's the rest of your schedule, people. Minnesota at Cleveland, where they stood overseas. Remember, Minnesota played against Pittsburgh and Ireland, so now they're going to play in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where Joe Flacco benched for Dylan Gabriel. And now, First Take, I believe they started today, and I don't watch First Take because I know I only turned it on because I wanted to see with just a 0.0001% that they would have started with baseball. You think they did that? No, they talked about Joe Flacco being benched and when will Shedeur Sanders be the quarterback. Does anybody really care about the Cleveland Browns today? Seriously? First Take ESPN? That is atrocious. And I get it that you're going to tune out half of the people that watch. But let me say this one more time when it comes to ESPN First Take. That is sports fans, hot takes, and sports debates for dummies. Stephen A. could do a stupid walk. Stephen A. could say, well, I'm number one. Holla at your boy and all this nonsense. That show, I get it. It's a different demographic than yours truly. But Aaron Boone has to be the start of that discussion today. Yankees lose to the Red Sox. He took out his starter, Max Fried, at 102 pitches, where Tarek Skubal pitched into the 8th inning, where Garrett Crochet pitched into the 8th inning, and here you are pulling your horse out to bring in a reliever who promptly gave up 2 runs. We got to talk about Shedeur Sanders? Nobody cares. Nobody. It just irks me as somebody who produces content. And listen, I am far from God's gift to sports talk. I get that. I understand that. But that's like me coming on here, starting this live stream, saying, hey, guys, how you doing? All right, yeah, the baseball playoffs are on the way. But wait, time out. We have to talk about Joe Flacco being benched, and now Dylan Gabriel is going to start in London against the Minnesota Vikings, a Brown team that is what, 1-3 last I checked. Dylan Gabriel. All right, so now the Shedeur Sanders watch. When is he going to play? If Gabriel does not play well here, is he going to play next week? I didn't watch the segment. I just turned it on to see if they're going to talk baseball, and all I see on the bottom graphic is Shedeur Sanders. You have got to be kidding. I don't care who you are on this planet. What kind of sports fan? This is October. Baseball, wild card, Yankees. And do I need to say more? I got to reel it in here because this is why I don't watch those shows. This is why I can't stand the landscape of sports in that regard, where they have to talk about, and I don't want to hear, ratings. All right, fine. But guess what? It's October 1st. This is the month. And I understand baseball doesn't own the entire sports landscape because the NFL not only tries to digest, but they spit out everything and suck all the oxygen out of the room, but to the point where the Cleveland Browns are going to headline your 2-hour sports talk show or sports debate show. That is an atrocity. What are we doing here, people? That's why. And I get it. If people say, what's Jay Wheels going to talk about? And you see what the headline, MLB Elimination Day. You think I'm going to talk NFL to start off my podcast or my live stream? Anyway, let me move on. Vegas and Indianapolis, Giants at New Orleans, Dallas at the Jets, Denver at Philly. That's a good game at 1 o'clock. That I'll take. Good test for the Broncos. But even if the Broncos lose 38-10, if that game was in Denver, that would be more of a statement. And that could still be a statement because then you'll think, that defense isn't all that if the Eagles run up 38 on them. But that's a good litmus test for the Broncos. Miami at Carolina. Excuse me, no Tyreek Hill, as you know. His knee was, unfortunately, blown to smithereens. I hate to say it that way, but it's the truth. Dislocated knee, ACL, MCL, the whole deal. I just wish him a happy, healthy, speedy recovery. Maybe not happy, but we know that rehabilitation process is going to be no joke. Houston at Baltimore. You may not see Lamar Jackson for not 1, not 2, at least 3 weeks. Keep that in mind. Tennessee at Arizona. Tampa Bay at Seattle. Not a bad game, but that's not one that, I got to run to see Tampa Bay at Seattle. Detroit at Cincinnati. No Burrow. No bueno. Washington at L.A. Jaden Daniels, I think, may play in this game. I don't know, but still. And then you have the Sunday night, Monday night games. So I'm not really in love with the schedule. Although, I like the game tomorrow night. I like Denver, Philadelphia. Tampa at Seattle. And listen, I get it. Jay will say, what? You're going to have 5, 6 stellar games every week? Oh, no, of course not. But damn. I mean, that schedule's thin. And just for grins and giggles, let's look at next week's schedule. Here's your Thursday night game. Ready for this? Philadelphia at the Giants. Then you have Sunday, Denver at New York. Not good right now. Arizona at Indianapolis. Chargers at Miami. New England at New Orleans. Cleveland at Pittsburgh. It's a division game, but still. Dallas at Carolina. Seattle at Jacksonville. All right. Rams at Baltimore. No Lamar. Again, no bueno. Although no Burrow, no bueno has a better ring. Tennessee at Vegas. No thanks. Cincinnati at Green Bay. There we go. Right on cue. No Burrow, no bueno. San Francisco at Tampa. Not bad. Detroit at Kansas City. Okay. Another double header Monday night. Buffalo at Atlanta. Not a chance. Bears at Washington. You do have a few good games there, and I get it. You're not going to have 6 marquee games, but here's the thing. They got to spread the wealth. Got mouths to feed. You can't have these games all Sunday 1 o'clock or a few at 4 o'clock or the one Sunday night game and the one Monday night game. No, you got to have 2 Monday night games. You got to have a Thursday night game. Oh, I know. The same drivel that I've been talking about since the beginning of time. All right, I'm sure it's 1 o'clock. Let me check the comments here. I'm sure they bid adieu. Let me scroll up here. Let me see what I got. All right, I went too far. Brent, I know Brent has left the room. What do we have? Oh, my goodness. I see a name that I haven't seen in so long, and I'm even ashamed to bring him up, but I got to give him a shout out, which I'll get to in a second as I go through these comments. And I hope he's still here with me because I owe him a gigantic mea culpa. And it's a terrible job on my part. All right, hold on. Here we go. Tigers. Oh, yeah, Jack Flaherty. Wait. Stand by. I see fishing here, so I know that's Colin Fishing Angel. Stand by. All right, I'm almost there. All right, Brent leaving. Yes, I got that. We talked about Kuminga. Maybe I have a hat problem. Here we go. Cole, receding hairline started when I was 20, so I started to wear a hat now. If I don't have a hat on, I feel naked. I hear that, man. It's all good. Casey Mize shows up huge today. Carpenter gets a huge hit. Yes, let's hope so. I'm rooting for you guys. Big time. Cleveland used a lot of big pieces out there. Bullpen yesterday. That's not a great start for them. Yes, because the Tiger offense, they're going to be familiar with them. Girls can fish a lot better than most men out there. Besides my husband, Cole Trickle, he's also a fisherman. Yes. Hey, listen. You guys are the power couple, so God bless you both. Fishing Angel outfishes 90% of the men and fishermen I know. And she probably does it with one arm behind her back and her eyes closed. You tell him, Fishing Angel. 12 minutes. The countdown's on. Well, I know they're probably long gone, so I understand. Yes, I see the room is now at 4, so they have left. Tigers going to win for sure today. Then Val, Warriors sign hello for Jet. Yep. You hear about that? Yes, I did. I know. And Horford, that took forever for whatever the reason. Tigers have to win. I don't know about Jack Flaherty in deciding game. Yeah, I don't know about him either, although he has the experience, but he's so hit or miss. I know your Warriors are making moves. Val B, yes, NBA. I'll get to that in a minute. Val B, I read they signed Seth's younger brother. Yeah, Steph's younger brother. Yep, Steph Curry. I could say after using YouTube yesterday, I do not recommend all that garbage. Yeah, all garbage. Yeah, I don't have that either. So I feel you there. Steph Curry have his jersey. Oh, you do? All right, nice. As Cole says, all right, I don't know if you're still in the room here, but I got to give a huge shout out to this guy. Years in the making. Lee Davis. I owe you a mea culpa here on this live stream. I know, I'm not trying to shout you out as far as what you've been going through, and I won't do that. I'll spare that for the people who don't know. But Lee and I go way back since 1999, 26 years. And I know I have been a terrible friend. As I say on my podcast, just like I will on my live stream, full transparency. My apologies, my deepest apologies, my sincerest apologies for not following up, whether it be your birthday or what you've gone through recently. And in fact, once I sign off on this, probably in the next half hour or so, I will reach out to you. Hopefully you still have the same number, which I believe you do. I will text you. And better yet, I should just probably pick up the phone and call you. And if I get a stranger or somebody else, oh, wrong number, then even more my bad. But if not, I will be sure to contact you when this is all said and done. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for popping up on this live stream. I think I saw another comment down below, so I'll obviously get to that. But again, my super ultra mega bad to you, LD, as being a bad friend after all these years, and even more so. It shouldn't get to where it's gotten. But I'll just leave that there, and I'll be sure to follow up with you. Val be up on Kuminga. Glad he signed with Warriors. It took forever. Yeah, it did take longer than it should have. I don't have many jerseys that are expensive. I'll wear it and get it dirty. Yeah, I hear that, Val. And not only that, but unless it's a player that you know is going to stay, which obviously that's all a roll of the dice. I'm ready for the Pistons this season. They're going to be good this year, I think. Yeah, I think so too. Oh, Cole with the timer. I know he's long gone. I used to love first taking cold pizza. All that stuff is garbage now. Preaches to the choir there. Warriors, Miami team. Sharks are always interesting. They play good hockey, but they're certainly young. Who do I think the Giant manager will be next? I actually have been hearing maybe Bruce Bochy going back to San Francisco. How about that? And I say only hearing because since he mutually parted ways with the Rangers, and obviously was his connection to San Francisco and Bruce Bochy. And the baseball president of ops, Buster Posey, yeah, there could be a reunion there. I would not be surprised. Red Wings, Lions, Michigan. And Cole is a huge, obviously he's from Michigan, but you talk about Wolverines? Oh, man. First take, Lakers, Cowboys, Shedeur Sanders, and hot topics involving players, not real league issues. Thank you, LD. You know. I don't have to tell you. Val B, what about Bruce Bochy again? Yes, as Cole mentioned, or things fans really want to talk about. Now, LD and I won't go with the ages, but LD knows. And he's a big sports fan. That I know for sure. He just got let go from the Rangers. Yes, that's Bochy. All right, time to go, sir. I got you, Cole. No doubt. I'm going to jump on that game afterwards as well. Well, yeah, started watching MLB 2024. I'm not sure who that is, but if he's next to it, yeah, I would want to take him on top of that. Bochy, that is. All right, let me get back to the banners. College football week 5, not much. Very lame, if you ask me. The only big game that you have is, let me pull up the schedule. I was looking at it earlier, and right now I'm in baseball mode. Yeah, I believe it's the 3:30 game that is, yes, Vandy at Alabama. Now, I know Vandy, I don't know if this is going to be too rich for their blood to go into Tuscaloosa and win, especially off of the win that the Crimson Tide had over Georgia and Kirby Smart. But Vandy, this is going to be a test. And they beat South Carolina, as you know, at South Carolina. They bludgeoned them. So, and now this is where they go into the deep end of the pool, because not only do they play Alabama, they go host LSU, Missouri, and then they go to Texas. So Vandy, they can pump their chest out all they want. This is where the gauntlet begins. They want to show something. Now, I understand after this, who knows? They have the 2 games at home, as I mentioned, LSU, Missouri. But if they really want to show me something, beat Alabama. I don't care if you beat them 3-2 or 43-42. Win the game. Because other than that, you got nothing. For Cole's sake, I know he's not here. Wisconsin at Michigan, that's going to be a cakewalk. And what else? What's the primetime game? Even the primetime game is all that. Oh, Miami, Florida State. Now, for nostalgic purposes, yes. But, and I get it, Florida State, and the game is at Tallahassee. But Miami ranked number 3 with Carson Beck and company. Yeah, I certainly like the Hurricanes' chances, if you ask me. Yeah, and as I see it here, Jaden Daniels medically cleared by doctors, so he's going to play Sunday. Or is that Monday night? No, that was the following week. They're playing Washington. They're playing the Bears. Washington's playing at LA, the Chargers. So that is good to know. And the Rockies dismissed their GM today. I mean, come on. They only lost 119 games. So that's what you have there. Now, 2 other things before I bid adieu. Yeah, I already touched on the one, Kirill Kaprizov, that whole deal with the, and I'll talk more about that on the podcast tomorrow. But here's the last thing I want to talk about, which may have gone under the radar. Oh, let me get to the comments first. Let's see where we're at here. Oh, you guys are back on. Wait a second. Wait, Tigers time to go? Wait, did I miss something here? Yeah, 108. You guys are back. Let me see. What was the last comment? Got let go from the Rangers. All right, time to go. Hold on. Yeah, Lee fans want to talk about. Hold on. If I go through it, yeah, that was the last one. No, wait. The last 2. Nice, Cole. Oh, so you guys must have jumped back on there, because now, although I think the game has started, their last World Series win against the Tigers. The Giants, that is. Yes, Giants Tigers in 2012. Wait a second. If you're talking about the Giants, they won in 2014, but I see what you're saying. You're still here because the game hasn't started yet. So I guess what, 110? It's probably starting now, no? Fishing Angel, thank you. You know I appreciate you. Thank you so much for that. All right, first time. That's it. He's out. Thank you, Cole. You know I appreciate you. This is one thing I want to get to, which may not be on a lot of people's minds. Maybe First Take did it. I don't know. And I'm sure they do, because sometimes they'll talk WNBA. But I will bring this up because this was one that was stunning and even shocking. At first, I thought this was a situation where maybe Nafisa Collier, Minnesota Lynx, was the runner-up, I believe, to Asia Wilson for MVP of the league. And I understand people are probably not dialed in on the WNBA, and they've had a very good playoff. Now, real quick, the Aces won their game against the Fever last night. I know the Fever lost one of their players in the middle of the game there last night. So the Fever, great ride. I mean, no Caitlin Clark, and to get to a semifinal Game 5, and they led 2-1 before the Aces came back and won the series. But they've had a very good playoff. Upsets, obviously the Lynx. You had a lot of dramatic, a lot of theater. Now you have Phoenix and Vegas, which I would have to say Vegas is if solid, if not heavy favorite to win that championship. But I digress. When Nafisa Collier came out with comments, and you see that quote, now I put in my quote, it's not in the double quotes. That is the worst leadership by the commissioner there, the commissioner being Kathy Engelbert. I said to myself, wait a minute, why is she coming out with this? Is this in light of what happened there in Game 3 where Collier got stripped of the ball and then she turned her ankle and fell to the court? And at that point, that's when the Mercury won that game, and then they won Game 4 before advancing, where the head coach, Cheryl Reeve, was suspended for Game 4 due to comments towards the officiating, not only the display you saw there on the court, but even in the post-game interview. And Collier, of course, was compromised. And then here it is a few days later, sitting in front of a microphone, literally, forget about shots fired. And I know I got to be careful what it is that I say, but boy, she was throwing barb after barb after barb. And I can even pull it up. As a matter of fact, I will do so just so I'm accurate, because I know a lot of the times I come across with my comments as, and I say I'm paraphrasing here, so I do at least say that. But here's what she had to say, and these are quotes if you haven't seen the video. And Collier, again, she could speak on it. She's not the 12th player on the bench or somebody that comes off the bench. Here's what she said. Our leadership, and here's a quote, our leadership's answer to being held accountable is to suppress everyone's voices by handing out fines. I'm concerned about the fine. Or she goes, I'm not concerned about the fine. I'm concerned about the future of our sport. At some point, everyone deserves to hear the truth from someone who I hope has earned the benefit of the doubt to fight for what is right and fair for our athletes and for our fans. We have the best players in the world. We have the best fans in the world. But right now, we have the worst leadership in the world. If I didn't know exactly what the job entailed, maybe I wouldn't feel this way. But unfortunately, for them, I do. Excuse me. I need my glasses, which, of course, is sitting over there and always forget. We serve a league that has shown they think championship coaches and Hall of Fame players are dispensable, and that's fine. It's professional sports, but I will not stand quietly by and allow different standards to be applied at the league level. And in response Tuesday, Engelbert said she has the utmost respect for Collier, but was disheartened by how her conversations with the Lynx star has been characterized. And then she read a statement, so on and so forth. So, yeah, she came out full fury against the league. Now, I got news for you. I saw that call, or the non-call, the reach-in. That was a reach-in. That was a strip. That wasn't a bump of the body. That wasn't a slap on the wrist, stole the ball, where Collier crumbled to the court. That wasn't a situation where she torpedoed herself into Collier, almost like a safety would on a running back, where she literally tried to truck her to get the ball and then go the other way with a layup. Part of it is sour grapes, I think. But there's got to be truth to it, because now the players have come out and they have exalted in light of what Collier has said here. And I could pull up those quotes here too. And you would think that was going to be the case. I'm not surprised here. But Lexi Hull, the Fever's alternate player rep for the WNBPA. And oh, by the way, Collier, who's not a runner-up for the MVP, but she's also the WNBA's vice president for the players. So just think about that. So Lexi Hull, I think I agree with everything Collier said. We're at a really important time in the league and changes need to be made. And so you're seeing her talk about that, and really proud of her for making that statement today. And what else was said? Fever coach Stephanie White. I have a lot of respect for Fee being the FISA. I'm thankful that we have strong women that are willing to say the things that matter and say the things that will move the needle for change. Paige Beckers, who also came out with a comment saying that Beckers is quote-unquote Queen Fee. Angel Reese posted 10 out of 10. The WNBA president, Nika Agwamike, said, exclamation points, is ticking, and Fee speaks for me. Thank you for your bravery. Listen, two-time MVP Elena Della Donna also came out. It's the care for the human part for me. I'm still not sure Kathy knows I retired. Heard from everyone but her. The point of the matter is that with the situation regarding Engelbert is that she has come out and made comments, and this is where I'm going to paraphrase real quick. She has come out and made comments that, to the Caitlin Clarks and everybody, they should bow at the feet of the league. They should be grateful and thankful that we got the broadcasting rights and the media rights that we gotten because of me. So she's making it all about her. And is there truth to that? Yes. But it also helps to have Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, the recent influx of WNBA players over the last couple of years that have generated eyeballs to the sets, that have even generated, think about this, more men to watch the WNBA than the women. Even yours truly. Now, am I watching every second of these playoff games? I am not. I'll be 100% honest. But as you know, and I put out a vlog, what was it? 2 months ago, it was right around the time of the All-Star break, where I came out and made a confession to say I need to follow the WNBA more, considering what it is that I do. I just can't look at it as an afterthought or throwaway or anything like that. And the reason why I hadn't really followed the WNBA, if you didn't watch that vlog, is because I have no investment toward a team. But it's not a knock on the WNBA. The same goes for soccer. You think I'm watching the Euro Cup or I'm watching the Premier Cup or any of the other teams overseas, which obviously soccer is the global sport? I don't care, because I don't have a team that I watch, that I invest. And you could say, well, as a sports fan, you could just turn on the TV. Yeah, but I want to root for something or someone. I'm just not going to turn on the team and turn on the TV and whatever. So to me, as a Met fan, people will say, well, don't you watch the Guardians and Tigers? Don't you watch the Reds and Dodgers? Yeah, it's because I love baseball and I follow those teams and I know those teams. I don't know. I couldn't tell you one person from Tottenham Hotspur or Real Madrid, or I know I'm probably mixing things up with the leagues or whatever, but yeah, I can tell you, I'm sorry. I don't follow the sport. I don't follow the leagues. WNBA, right. Can I tell you 3 players from each team throughout the WNBA? I cannot. But I can tell you, and I understand that may sound like a front-running thing, but I can tell you who are the key components or the key players in the league. Yes. I mean, Asia Wilson, no duh. I mean, she's only won 4 MVPs. She just recently won 1, and they won back-to-back titles a few years back. I could talk about Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu here with the Liberty. I could talk about Angel Reese. I understand her team isn't that good, but she's putting up double-doubles at a record clip. And I could go on a little bit further, but I'm not going to sit here. Again, authenticity and transparency, people. I'm not going to sit here and say I know the WNBA. Forget about the back of my hand, even the front of my hand for that matter. No, but I picked up my knowledge. I picked up the game a little bit. I picked up storylines. And this is why I'm talking about this. So to encapsulate all this, because I don't know if I'm boring you to tears or what have you, but that would be what Napheesa Collier did. That would be similar to, and I'm just throwing a name out, not that he's done this or will do this or what have you. That's like Patrick Mahomes taking a shot at Roger Goodell. That's like Anthony Edwards taking a shot at Adam Silver. That is like Aaron Judge taking a shot at Rob Manfred. And we know the Players Association and the union, they can't stand one another. So for Collier to do this, yeah, she's taken out the bow and has shot the arrow right at Kathy Engelbert, which means that there's smoke, there's fire. And if Engelbert is thinking that she's bigger than the sport or the league, well, now she's got another thing coming to her where the owners now they have to take a look on whether or not Engelbert could be dismissed, despite the media rights deal that I'm sure her and the owners have put together. But if she's come across too big for her britches, then who knows what's going to happen? Because it's not just one player saying this. It's now a bunch of other players backing her up. And it's not, again, the backup center or the backup point guard or the 12th woman on the bench. This is the WNBA vice president saying this. So you have to wonder if there's going to be consequences and repercussions toward the commissioner. And now some of the owners are going to have to come out, whether to either go to bat for Engelbert or they're going to stay silent. And who knows? Her fate could be sealed. I bring it up now because with the WNBA finals starting, and this story may not have the legs if it was in the men's pro sports, but this is going to be an interesting development to see whether or not the owners are going to stick up for Engelbert or stay silent, or will there be a rash reaction toward this? Just keep it in mind, because there's been no Major League Baseball, NFL, National Hockey League. Again, Connor McDavid going off against Gary Bettman. Could you imagine? Bettman would be on his ear if McDavid said, yeah, we're getting screwed here, or nobody's paying attention to us, or yeah, the commissioner's taking all the credit, but we're the ones that are putting fans in the buildings or the digital platforms. They're watching me play and everybody else because off the sweat of our backs. And now the commissioner's going to say this about us? Gary Bettman would probably be out if that was the case. Probably. So that's why I bring this up now. And again, this is a sports show, and that is one that I will pay attention to as we're moving along. Oh my God, Fishing Angel's back. Hang on. Watching the game, watching your show still. Bless your heart, Fishing Angel. Bless your heart. Thank you so much. You know how much I appreciate that. Cleveland's defense is falling apart already. Is that right? Oh, I got to pull up a score. And don't worry, I'm going to sign off momentarily because I want to watch the game. Of course, I want to eat too. I haven't eaten, you know me, Mr. Fasting before noon. Right now, bottom first, nobody out, but I guess they had opportunities in that first inning if their defense was falling apart. All right, Parker Meadows got a hit. I'm doing a play-by-play. I'm not doing the play-by-play in its entirety. I'm going back to the first inning. You had Meadows, infield single. Torres safe on first on an error by DeLauder. Oh, wow. And DeLauder's the rookie, by the way, that the Guardians, for whatever the reason, decided to put him on the roster. He has no Major League Baseball experience, but they said, what the hell? Let's bring him up and see what happens. Now, I didn't see the error, of course. I've been on here. But for him to already have a fielding error, safe at second. Oh, and then Bybee, struck out looking, struck out swinging, struck out swinging. And then Mize, Stephen Kwan, who's putting forth and he just popped out the third as he put forth a pretty productive at-bat, trying to get the pitch count of Mize up high here in the early going. All right, my good people, I think that will do it. Let me just double check. Anything else happening in sports? Yeah, I got more people clapping back on me with the whole, one guy. My entire team sucks. That's a, what's the word? Not metaphor. Come on, J-Reels. That's an acronym for the Mets. And then I wrote back and be like, yeah, you're right. Tell me something I don't know. Because of my post the other day about the Yankees being petty and about Juan Soto and the Met misery, etc. And then he came out and he said, oh, my entire team sucks. I won't say who he is. Nobody I know, but I came out with, you're right. Tell me something I don't know. But, oh, by the way, your manager sucks too. 9 innings away. 9 innings. I got the pillows ready. They're not fluffed up yet. They're not. Because it's way too premature to fluff them up, but they're ready. Because, boy, by about 9:30 tonight, if it just so happens that the Red Sox win game 2 of the wild card round, I promise you there will be a post tonight on all my social media accounts to not only cement, but to put to rest all of what I've had to deal with over the last 48 hours or so. So to the baseball gods, I know you're listening. I hope you deliver. If not tonight, all right, tomorrow night. I'll take that too. But tonight will be better. You know why? Because tomorrow, first thing in the morning, as I get ready to sign off, you already know my podcast pregame, 9:30, as I will chime in on the events that took place today and give you a podcast pregame on top of a lot of other things that are going to come down the pike. And, oh, by the way, how could I forget? I'm getting ready to sign off, and I forgot the most important thing. You ready, people? I promise this will be quick, and then I'll sign off because we're approaching the bottom of the hour, 1:30. 3 months of 2026, some changes forthcoming. Now, I'll keep you guys and gals posted. This isn't going to be drastic. This isn't going to happen overnight. This is probably going to be in the weeks to come. But just keep in mind that on my YouTube channel, everybody knows at JReels, I do have another channel as a backup. I haven't posted it. Nobody knows anything about it. That handle is youtube.com/@the JReels podcast. I am thinking about moving the podcast that I put out every Monday and Thursday, the video portion of it, to that channel. Only because that I want to see how that's going to do just with the podcast itself. It's probably not going to do well because my podcasts, they get anywhere between 10 to 25 views. And I'm sure they're not full views. You know, people click on, they watch 5 minutes and then they're out. Or they watch 2 minutes, they're out. Or I know there's some that watch the entire thing. And for those who stick it out and watch the complete podcast, I'm humbly thankful, grateful, etc. But I figured the handle could just go strictly to the podcast. But as far as my shorts, giving you my thoughts about what's happening in sports throughout the course of that day, the critique videos, the commentary videos, the lifestyle stuff, which I haven't really done, but I plan to do, and also the history reviews. I recorded a couple of videos in the old Yankee Stadium grounds, so you're going to have some content coming in the weeks, definitely in the month of October, because it tailors around the playoffs, baseball, where I'm going to go back in history on some big moments in baseball history and just kind of give you a little overview, a little sense of what happened yesteryear when it comes to October baseball, playoff baseball, World Series baseball. So you definitely want to keep your eye out for that. But yes, the podcast itself, I'm looking to move, and I'll give you guys and gals more than a heads up to let you know when I'm going to start doing that. But I would think it's probably going to be definitely before the end of the year, without question. It could be as early as, I don't want to target a date just yet, but it could come the middle of the month. Now, that middle could be anywhere between, let's say, the 13th and 20th, that week time frame. So just keep that in mind. But I'll give you guys and gals enough of a head start or enough of a jump to know that, all right, guys, the JReels podcast is going to migrate over to the JReels podcast channel on YouTube. Please go there if you want to just get the podcast. And that's that. And I may put some other podcast-related content on there. But as for right now, it is going to be strictly the podcast itself. The hour and 10, hour and 15, sometimes less than an hour podcast will go to the JReels podcast YouTube channel. So you've been warned. And hopefully when the day comes, you'll go subscribe. If you want to get your fill on what I have to say about what's happening in the world of sports, you could just go there and obviously watch the podcast from that vantage point. All right. And Fishing Angel came back again. Thank you, Fishing Angel. Came back. Great show. Have a wonderful day. You too, Fishing Angel. And I hope that the Tigers win today. And one last call here. Any thoughts from the chat room? This is your time to speak up. I know I got a couple people there, which is fine. But whatever it is you want to say, get off your chest. Last licks is on you. If you haven't done so, which I'm sure a lot of you have, but please subscribe, like, leave a comment in the comment section below. I would greatly appreciate it. Of course, the latest edition of the podcast coming tomorrow around 12. Maybe actually a little later tomorrow. The missus is staying home. I may be recording from here. If not, I may have to record from the separate room. So maybe a little later, but I'll talk about that in the podcast pregame tomorrow. And in fact, I actually may be outside recording that because I know if the missus is here, she's getting up at that time and she may be walking around, that type of thing. So I may be outside to record that. So hang tight. Tomorrow, 9:30, I'll have it, but chances are I will be out in the open. And then thanks to all for stopping by with a live, the replay, etc. Goes without saying how much I enjoy doing these live streams. My podcast pregame tomorrow. Tell your family, friends, foes, frenemies. You know that the friendly banner that we have back and forth is always appreciated and certainly welcome. So for those who are watching the replay and never been on, or if this is your first time, whether you do or do not know, this is what I love to do, people. It's in the blood. It's in the DNA. Talking sports is birth. And if you couldn't tell any of the passion, fire, energy, and fury from the past hour and a half, then I don't know what to tell you, people. You're going to have to come back to the podcast pregame tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. Where's the graphic? There you go. And then obviously with another podcast that you definitely do not want to miss tomorrow. And the pregame, I'll detail some of the highlights that I'll discuss on the podcast. And that'll lead us into the weekend, the first weekend of October. Like I said, 3 more months, people. Get cracking on what it is that you need to do. Get cracking on what it is that you want to do. Don't wait until after the holidays. Don't wait until when it's right, when it's convenient, when you feel it's necessary. Just go out and do it now. Time isn't promised to anyone, as we've seen here over time. The unfortunate incident there north, I believe it was north of where Cole and Fishing Angel lived, that terrible attack there in that church where it was burned and 4 people were killed and 8 people injured. You just don't know. So get started on that dream. Get started on that goal or goals pronto. Do not wait for tomorrow, because I know I'm going to do my best to continue to put forth great content, also work behind the scenes, try to generate revenue, income to do what it is that I love. The reason why I quit my job almost 20 months ago is to do strictly this. And again, with passion, fire, energy, fury, not only that, with credibility, transparency, and doing it authentically. No manufactured rah-rah, breaking out the pom-poms, jumping up and down on my chair, yelling and screaming for no reason. Not this guy. You get it all from right in here, from my heart, from my soul, from whatever comes out of my mouth into your ears. Because just like I say at the end of every podcast, and I can say it right now, the J-Reels podcast, or in this case, the J-Reel live stream, from my lips to your ears, to my heart to your soul, from where I am to wherever you are, it always comes live, correct, direct, and in full effect. From the South Bronx, the South Beach, the South Central, the South Pacific, and all points beyond. Peace, love, and God bless everybody. Enjoy Wild Card today, maybe even tomorrow if the series gets extended, all the NFL, college, etc. And until tomorrow, 9:30 on the podcast pregame, right here on YouTube Live, on the foot, baby.